Let's talk about how to operate an LLC under a personal name. The thing is, it is totally possible. It might sound a little bizarre, but it is totally possible to operate your limited liability company under a personal name. So here's the approach I really want you to pay attention to. I first want to talk about situations when an LLC with a personal name makes sense. So naming your business after yourself is a common strategy for service providers who are both the product and the face of the business, right? So if you are, let's say, John Doe, you are a voiceover artist, John Doe. Basically, clients will hire you because of who you are. They want your voice, personality, and perspective. So when establishing your business, it's important to keep your personal self deeply connected to your professional brand. Okay, so creating an LLC with your name will be the perfect way to merge your identity with your creative business while maintaining the legal protections that an LLC offers. It's all about really giving a whole package to the clients, right? You want to make sure that you cover your ass, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you sound professional. Cover your butt from a legal perspective. So if something were to happen, at least you know your personal assets are covered. But at least you also want to appear professional as an LLC. So in other words, when clients look at you, when clients have your business cards in their hands, they know, hey, okay, this is a legit business. This is an important element to keep in mind. And what I want to say here is that when we talk about an LLC and operating an LLC under a personal name, it's all about branding. It's all about making sure that you want to parlay your personal reputation into a business that generates revenue. Now, what should you watch out for? Before including your personal name in your LLC, you have to be aware of certain downsides. For example, incorporating your personal name is less effective if your name is hard to spell or pronounce or is quite common. To get around the latter while adding clarity, include a descriptor, something along the lines of Empire Electronics designed by Jane Doe LLC is better than Jane Doe LLC. Okay, your business might have limited growth potential when you are too closely tied to the brand too. People will always consider and treat your business like it's a one-man show. So that's why you want to actually pivot into something more strategic. So many entrepreneurs want to create an organization that grows to the point where the founder can turn it out to a new leadership. So you want to actually start from the beginning where you do not associate your name, if you will, with the organization. So think about the long-term aspect of things as well. So be vigilant about keeping your business entity with your name separate from your personal accounts and activity, especially when signing documents on behalf of the company. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. Now, let me talk to you about the steps you need to take if you want to operate an LLC under a personal name. First of all, you need to choose a name and register. You have to register it. Okay. So when we talk about choosing a name and then you have to choose a name and register it, it's important to understand that state laws will have a force of law here. Make sure that your LLC name is distinguishable from other business entity names already registered with the state. You can search business name availability on the website of the state agency that handles the business filings. You must indicate that the business is a limited liability company by including the words limited liability company, LLC, L.L.C. or LLC at the end of the business name. Other words or abbreviations may also be acceptable depending on your state. So it's one of those things where you have to really be sure that you are in compliance with the state regulations. Most states allow you to reserve a name temporarily if you have chosen an available name but are not ready to file LLC formation paperwork yet. To reserve a name, submit your state's name reservation form along with a required filing fee. Rules, fees, and forms vary by state. If you have any question about this, you just ask us in the comment section below, and we'll get back to you. Not a problem. And one thing I want to say here is that basically choosing an available name is only one part of the business naming process. Okay, because you also have to make sure that that name is available. okay? Because you do not want to infringe on another company's trademark. This is really important. And so that's step number one. Step number two, you need to choose a registered agent. So a registered agent, also known as a resident agent or statutory agent, has one job: to receive legal documents such as lawsuits and subpoenas on behalf of your LLC and then deliver them promptly to the appropriate person at your business. So if you want to operate an LLC under a personal name, just make sure you have a registered agent that will take care of all correspondence that you get from the state. This is really important. Every state has its own requirements for who can serve as a registered agent, but typically the agent must be either a state resident over the age of 18 who has a physical address in that state known as a registered office, or a company authorized to provide registered agent services in the states. In most states, you can act as your own registered agent, name an employee or other individual as an agent, or hire a registered agent service. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how to operate an LLC under a personal name. The next thing you want to do here is you want to prepare an LLC operating agreement. Make sure that, again, you have the proper name here. And an LLC operating agreement is actually, when you think about it, is a foundation of how your LLC will operate. It is a blueprint for how you will run your LLC. Your operating agreement includes information about your business structure, the roles, ownership, interest, and contributions of the LLC owners or members, the way profits are divided, and how you will admit new members or deal with a departing member. So whether you are operating an LLC under your personal name or under a name that is not your personal name, it doesn't matter. You still need to have an operating agreement, okay? And although operating agreements are not required by law, good operating agreements can minimize conflict among members and help things go more smoothly when issues do arise. And you bet, issues will arise. It's just part of human interactions. The best time to negotiate and draft an operating agreement is at the beginning of your business's life, when members are most likely to be committed to a shared vision for the business. And so the way you want to look at the operating agreement, this is basically an internal document. You don't file it with that state, with whatever state you are incorporated in, but you need to keep it with your important business paperwork. Again, it's an important element. Step number 4, you want to file LLC articles of organization. The name of the LLC. So when we talk about articles of organization, this document must include certain important information: the name of the LLC, the name of the LLC's main place of business, the duration and purpose of the LLC, whether the LLC is managed by its members or a manager. It doesn't really matter whether you are operating an LLC under a personal name or under another name, okay? And you also need to have in the articles of organization, you need to have the name of the registered agent and address of the agent's registered office, the signature of one or more of the LLC's organizers. And almost all states allow you to file articles of organization online, and filing fees vary by state and are usually between about $50 and $150, with a handful of states charging more than $200, okay? And some states process LLC articles of organization instantly, while others take anywhere from a few days to a few weeks. So in some states, you pay an extra fee to expedite processing. So after your LLC paperwork is approved, you will receive a certificate of formation from the state confirming that your LLC officially exists. The next thing you want to do if you want to operate an LLC under a personal name, you need to remember the financial aspect of things. You need to get an EIN and bank account. So when the EIN is pretty simple to get. Do not listen to folks. There are a lot of players in the industry. They're trying to charge you extra to actually get you an EIN. You can just go to the IRS website and actually file for your EIN right then and there. Okay, it's very straightforward, not a problem. And so you will need to have an EIN before you can open a business bank account. So you want to open a business bank account for the LLC that you are operating under a personal name. And just remember, so the bank account is not under your name, your personal name, but it's under the LLC's name. Okay, and And if your LLC has employees or more than one member, you must have an EIN anyway. Single member LLCs with no employees have the option to use the member's social security number, but your financial institution may ask for an EIN to open a business bank account. So an EIN also helps protect your personal social security number. And one thing I want to say also is that in most states, LLCs are inexpensive to set up and maintain. Many attorneys recommend that small business owners form an LLC because it provides liability protection at a minimal cost. Next, you want to really obtain business licenses and permits. So the LLC that you are operating under a personal name, just make sure that you have the right sort of permits and licenses. So depending on the type of business you have and where it's located, you may need one or more licenses or permits to operate legally. So here's an overview of some of the more common ones: seller's permit, general business licenses, industry specific licenses, registration in other states, DBAs. Okay, so DBAs are basically, if you need to file a DBA, if you're you need to do that if you're doing business under a name other than your legal name. If your LLC only uses its official LLC name, it doesn't need a DBA. But if you're using a different name in your business, you'll probably need to file a DBA. DBA requirements vary by location, and you may need to file with your city, county, or state. And industry trade associations and local and state government offices are good resources for determining the types of licenses and permits your business may need. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how to operate an LLC under a personal name. The next thing I want you to do here is to actually get tax advice and file any required forms. This is so important, and you'll be glad you actually reach out to an expert. The thing is that meeting with a tax advisor at the beginning of your business's life can save you money in the long run. A CPA can advise you on the best tax classification, what business expenses are deductible, the kinds of financial records you need to keep, and the tax forms you need to file. So having the conversation with an accountant set things up really nicely and avoids complications down the road. So when we talk about a CPA, if you don't have a CPA, if you don't have access to a CPA, you can actually hire an EA, so an enrolled agent, or you can hire a tax attorney. So those three professionals, they do have experience when it comes to business taxation. And it's really important to understand that from a tax standpoint, LLCs are unique because the IRS does not have a specific LLC tax classification. By default, the IRS classifies one-member LLCs as sole proprietorships or disregarded entities. Multi-member LLCs are classified as partnerships, but an LLC can also elect to be taxed as an S corporation or a C corporation by filing a federal tax election form with the IRS. Okay, and those are Form 2553 or 8832. And what I want to say here is that if your LLC is classified as a sole proprietorship or a partnership, you are self-employed. You will report business income and expenses on your personal tax return. Partnerships also file a partnership return. You will pay income and self-employment. In other words, those taxes are Medicare and Social Security taxes on your share of business profits. And estimated taxes should be paid quarterly to avoid fees and penalties. And so the default taxation system is simple, especially for single member LLCs, whether they are operating under a personal name or no name at all. But some profitable LLCs save on self-employment taxes by electing S corporation taxation. So we're going to have an entire show that really talks about S corporation versus C corporation and so on and so forth. I just need to say one thing is that for most businesses, especially new businesses, setting up accounting software so you can track your income and expenses and understand your cash flow, income and expenses is really the best way to do things from a fiscal point of view. Let me say one thing. I want to give you a bonus here. So when we talk about setting up, operating an LLC under a personal name, it's really important to understand that there are situations are not the same in various states. Okay, so if you were to set up an LLC in New York under a personal name or versus setting up an LLC under your personal name in California, you have big differences. For example, there is no filing fee for articles of organization to form an LLC in California. However, every LLC registered in California must pay an annual $800 minimum franchise tax, even if it is not doing any business. LLCs that make more than $250,000 in California income must also pay an annual fee that starts at $900 and increases proportionate to income. And the thing is that the $800 in franchise taxes is actually waived for the first year for LLCs formed between January 1st, 2021 and December 21st, 2023. And the fee is also waived for businesses that had a tax year of 15 days or less and did not do any business in California. And after the first year, LLCs must pay franchise tax for the 15th day of the fourth month of the tax year. So this is important. And so the big question is, so I gave you the example of California versus New York. So the big question is, where should you form your LLC? Whether you operate under a personal name or under a different name, it shouldn't really matter. The thing is, in most cases, the simplest and least expensive place to start an LLC is the state where you live. If you form an LLC in another state, you will also need to register your LLC as a foreign business entity in the state where your business is located. You will need a registered agent in both states. It will be responsible for filing annual reports in both states. So regardless of where you form your LLC, you have to pay applicable taxes in the state where you conduct business. Remember that when we talk about operating an LLC under a personal name, there are usually 4 types of LLCs. You have common or ordinary LLC, professional LLC, series LLC, and then you have benefits LLC. So a benefit LLC has the mission to benefit society as well as earn a profit. Only a few states currently authorize formation of benefit LLCs. For a series LLCs, this is basically an arrangement where you have a parent or umbrella LLC with one or more sub LLCs under it. Okay, and each sub LLC is insulated from the others for liability purposes. And series LLCs can be useful for companies that have several businesses or investments, such as real estate investor with multiple rental properties. Not all states allow series LLCs. So when we talk about LLC liability protection, how does it really work? Well, the thing is, it doesn't matter whether you operate your LLC under a personal name or under another name. Owners of sole proprietorship and general partnerships have unlimited personal liability for business debts. Very important to remember that. Partners in a general partnership can also be liable for their partner's actions. So when you create an LLC, you establish a new legal entity that exists separately from its owners. An LLC can have its own money, bank account, and assets, and it can sign contracts. So because the LLC is a separate entity, the members are not personally liable for business debts or the actions of other members. They remain liable for their own negligent or intentional conduct and for any obligations where they have signed a personal guarantee. This is one of the reasons why a lot of LLC owners do not like personal guarantees. Business insurance can further minimize liability for you and your business. So, and the thing is, whether you want, how much you really need if you want to operate an LLC under a personal name, well, it really depends on the state where you are going to open the business. A business plan will help you estimate your expenses and how much money you will need to get your business off the ground and keep it running. There are a few costs related specifically to LLC formation and maintenance. You should have enough money to file formation paperwork, pay for a legal and tax advice, hire a registered agent if necessary, and pay annual report filing fees and any annual franchise or operating taxes levied by your state. And so basically another question is owning an LLC worth it? Yes. In most states, LLCs are inexpensive to set up and maintain. Many attorneys recommend that small business owners form an LLC because it provides liability protection at a minimal cost. But most states are more expensive than others. Some states are more expensive than others. If you are not sure whether an LLC is worth it, please get advice from an attorney and a tax advisor. or you can just let us know in the comment section below, and we'll certainly get back to you. Our team has an extensive database of LLCs and based on the states, and we'll get back to you and we'll just advise you further. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just talking to you about how to operate an LLC under a personal name. So I give you the approach, the steps, and then now the bonus. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.